Welcome to the Blizzard Arena.
And the quest for a champion begins today.
The anticipation has been building, and it is finally time. We are live.
Are you ready?
That is a really...
Can you get over the roof there?
Oh my.
Oh my,
what a play, what a grab!
Another jump here onto the high ground. Super goes forward, but gets stuck up. The EMP comes in, and Ding, he rains down hell from above.
Here comes Pine. Gets one, gets two. Looking for a bit more, gets another one.
Tuno down again. That heralds disaster generally for the Fusion, and Carpe wasn't far behind. Prophet, he's killed 4 players now on his own.
From Vancouver, locks him in the sound barrier. Sound is huge. The bomb coming in from John. Oh my God, he does it again.
Flutter now moving onto the Widowmaker, taking the clutch into his own hands. The headshot after headshot after headshot.
Okay, I like this for the Gladiators. We're going to try and circle around. I'm going to call this the merry-go-round because it makes me laugh. Makes me happy, and Sean Paul switches to the Widowmaker and just the right time!
Oh, the Raven.
What in the Lord's name is that?
That's so good.
I'm a best Trace in the world.
Oh my word.
I mean, you could have told me that you spoke English, honestly.
The fans never thought they'd see this day. It took 43 matches. Feels like a really emotional moment here.
Sorry. All right, let's get it started because we gotta go fast because Game Awards are in like 3 hours, so I have to do this really fast. Okay, so we're gonna react to a video about what? Not watching the Game Awards. I will link the channel I will be on at the end. Because it's gonna be hilarious. So here's a video why I probably won't be watching the Game Awards, so.
Actually, do you know what game I am distraught that people have not played and it's not more popular? Stellar Blade. That game is
I didn't realize I'm actually in the chat right there.
amazing. And it didn't even get a Game of the Year.
Hey, I did say when I was watching this live is that it had the Hogwarts Legacy treatment of it not being the controversy side. It came out too early. It came out. It came out too early, and I think that's it. I mean, there's not really much to say.
Your nomination on the Game Awards. I'm actually genuinely pissed. I think Stellar Blade is the Game of the Year. Just on the basis alone that the game is a full, complete game with, it's a complete package where nothing seems to have been cut in order for you to get it later down the line via some sort of microtransaction. That game had a very specific budget. It stayed within that budget. It set out to do a very specific thing very well, and it did it remarkably so.
Yeah, that's also what I said. Is that it? You know, it's now loved by the mainstream suddenly.
And it didn't even get a Game of the Year nomination. Meanwhile, a goddamn DLC from Elden Ring from a game from 2 years ago got in. I personally lost all respect to like the Game Awards after that. Like, guys, if you haven't played Stellar Blade, and I mean this 100%, 1000%.
I'm waiting for the PC version.
If you guys have not played Stellar Blade, you guys need to find a way to play it. When it comes out on PC, please play it. It's a really good game. If you like Devil May Cry, if you like Bayonetta, if you like Nier, it's a wonderfully designed hack and slash with a lot of player expression and just a really, really, really good soundtrack, amazing graphics. It's honestly, you know what's the thing about that game that and why I'm so like bothered by the fact that it got snubbed from Game of the Year. That game, legitimately, and I mean this 100%, 1000%, I mean it from the bottom of my heart. That game reminded me.
Your brain lights up like.
Really? Already an ad?
And that certain area
Of how I felt when I played Devil May Cry for the first time on the PS2. It's like the kind of game where you can't believe how amazing it is, or that something like this got made in current time, like in the current landscape. It's like I did every side quest, got every costume that I could blind anyways. I tried to do everything I could in that game just because of how much fun I was having with it, and I didn't want for the game to end. To see like a game like that, you know, to see a game like that just be snubbed out of the Game of the Year nomination feels bad. Didn't it get nominated for Best Action Game and Best Music? It should have gotten nominated for Best Game and not the DLC. Like, dude, DLC? The DLC is 2 years old. The game is 2 years old. And if DLCs are now into the... If we can now introduce DLCs, then that would mean we can introduce stuff like Final Fantasy XIV's Dawn Trail into the mix. Even though that's an expansion, but like...
Yeah, the DLC is a bad road to take.
What's stopping them? Like, it doesn't matter anymore, right? What's the point of a category that's you know, for example, best ongoing support for a game if the DLC could be counted as ongoing support, you know? I feel that Booming Bob said that I feel that Stutter Blade suffered from Hogwarts of being released too early and too much controversy around it. Yes, that's probably true. I kind of hate how much recency bias affects like these nominations, you know? I feel like psychologically speaking, I understand why the recency bias happens. I just don't think that it should like if you are a professional game reviewer, that shouldn't affect you. Like, you're getting paid to objectively review these things, right? So it's like, why is it the case
Because they're not objective anymore.
that you are not, you know, nominating the games that really deserve it? And I mean, we know why, right? Like, you see a little bit of titty, a somewhat attractive main character, and suddenly it's like for the grifters, the game already. And by the way, I'll say this. I think that people like Grims, I don't dislike him. I think he's fine. But I think that having someone like him go as hard as he did, complaining about the censorship on the game, just made stuff like way worse, because now people are saying that you're like, even when you get a Coomer game, quote unquote a Coomer game, you're not happy enough, right? You need more. So like I feel like,
Yeah, I think that's where the whole Goomer gate started. I do think that maybe it was a bit an interesting hill to die on, but also I understand why. But you know, it is what it is.
a lot of people use the arguments that he would use against him, against people like Grims. So, and like, that's not the hill you want to die on
Grims.
either, right? Like, I'm a big believer that if you see something that's like really good, reward it, pay money, you know, share with your friends, and make sure that the part that you really like is getting the recognition that it deserves. If don't try to like fight with some, like, listen, do you think somebody who enjoyed a game, like, let's say a very recent example, like Dragon Age the Veilguard, do you think someone like that is gonna like Stellar Blade? You know they're not going to. So why bother complaining about them, about how a video game should be or not, or what? Like, who fucking cares, dude? What I care about is that you make sure that you give to the developers who made the game that you like money, and you know that you reward them for their effort and let them know that, like, hey, there is a market for this. I am part of your market. Make more of this. You know who understands that super well? People who play gacha games. That's why gacha games are popping off the way they are. I just want to play a good video game. Go ahead and play Stellar Blade if you haven't. Also, Balatro, I haven't played it. I feel like even though that game is an indie game, I don't
Yeah.
understand why people are like complaining about that one being on the game of the year run. That game definitely deserves it. I haven't played it, but everybody that I know that has played Balatro loves.
Okay. All right. What are we doing? Okay.
Loves that game to death. Okay, and I've
Yeah. I think so. Blade deserved it to get there, but because no one likes it, no one, because it was offensive to some people. That's why I didn't get hit.
heard nothing bad about the game. In fact, I've heard that you should not play the game. You should not play the game if you'll get hooked easily on stuff because it's just that good. I wish award shows were good. Maybe peer voted instead of journalist jerkfest. Sadly, award shows tend to be bad in every industry. By a peer, I meant fellow devs and studios. So, okay, I see where you're coming from. Okay, I see where you're coming from. I like that way of looking at it, but the problem is that I see is that Western developers have too much of a grip on the Game Awards. And here's why. Why do you...
I mean, also one thing is that some people that are part of the Game Award committee but aren't even part of games. So you have like what, New York Post? The New York Post is part of it. The let's see. Where's the committee? I mean, let's take a look at the committee that wrong one. Let's just look at the Game Awards itself. Okay. Anything else? Oh well, anyway. BS stuff.
You think that there's a category for most accessible game? Why do you think, and this is a genuine question, I'm not trying to do a gotcha or anything, okay? Why do you think we have like an accessibility not...
I mean, for one hand, it's, you know, accessible could be two things.
Nomination. And the Dragon Age the Veilguard is on there.
One time.
That's because developers care about that a lot. And hey, I'm not saying that accessibility should not be rewarded. Like, I think making games more accessible is a good thing. But this is clearly, to me, it just feels like a form of signaling or trying to get, you know, brownie points for appealing to, you know, to a less fortunate crowd in terms of like their circumstance. It's just something additional they're adding to virtual signal. Yes, that's the word I'm looking for. Thank you. Virtual signal. Is that a bad thing?
Yes.
No, like having accessibility options in games is not like I don't want to make this into a political thing. I just don't think that people care that much about it to the point
really.
Where you make a nomination about it and it's like who cares, honestly? Like, I care that you make the game playable, and that should be part of the game rating itself, not like its own nomination. Make it available when at the point of the game. That's a great way of putting it. So yeah, so like that's where I'm at. The way that I would probably fix the issue would be, okay, actually, there has to be more weight given to what the community thinks about these things. But like the issue when you do it like a popularity contest is that
it's a popularity contest. That's all it is. Because of how many sponsors and half the sponsors aren't even gaming sponsors or committees. So it doesn't even make sense in that aspect.
For example, let's say that this year we had Fortnite, Final Fantasy, I don't know, Warframe, World of Warcraft, and Apex Legends be nominees. I don't know what the nominees are for best game, by the way. For best ongoing game or best community support or whatever. Let's say those are the games in the running. Fortnite will win every single time just on the basis alone of...
I mean, Fortnite's been doing the same thing for years.
It being that popular, or as popular as it is right now. And you just want to avoid that when talking about nominations. But that's when you should be able to go and talk to the professional game reviewers who do this for a living, right? To have their supposed more educated take on the game. But that doesn't happen because seemingly all of the journalists are in lockstep talking about the same stuff in the same identity politics issues and stuff that nobody cares about, okay? And right now for me, the only place where I can get a proper, like, genuine recommendation from is YouTube, from specific YouTubers that focus on specific types of games. And maybe that's just like where the gaming industry on the side of journalism is gonna go. You know, like maybe the play nowadays is to just like forget about the Kotakus of the world and Game Informer is not even with us anymore.
I mean, Kotaku's just, you know, is eventually gonna die anyway, so it doesn't matter.
You know, rest in peace. But like, it just feels like if you want like a really good opinion on something, you will not go to.
You won't go to any of these things. You'll go to just a random YouTuber talking about what they think about a game. Personally, I think Soulblade's great. Wukong's great. I'm surprised Wukong even made Game of the Year for how much they try to hate it, but I guess since both Concord and Dustborn failed and Dragon Age the Veilguard, they had to put Wukong in there because it made 2 million copies in the first week. So they were forced to put it in there, even though they did everything they could to damage it.
I'm never gonna go to Kotaku to get an opinion about Stellar Blade or Gran Turismo 7 or whatever, because I know these people don't play these games. They don't love, and no, they don't love.
They hate games more than than anything.
Gran Turismo 7 the way I do. I know they don't love Final Fantasy 14 the way I do. They only love Final Fantasy 14 because of for other reasons that have nothing to do with the game. We only go to those sites now to rest or make a video on it. Yeah, kinda. The problem is, whenever this messaging pops up, the game also tends to be bad because virtual signaling takes place of the actual story. Yeah, that's true. I know Helldivers 2 is one of the best. Wait, what? Helldivers 2 got nominated for Best Community Support? What? Huh? After that massive issue with the PSN thing earlier in the year? Are you joking? By the way, you still can't play the game in those regions. You know that, right? Okay, well.
Yeah, that's still a problem. But overall, I think they fixed most of it, even it's still an issue.
Wow, that's wild. It feels the same with hardware, but the PC hardware, sadly. Dude, I haven't checked PC Gamer or Tom's Hardware or any of those sites, I feel like in a decade at least. I straight up rather go to Linus Tech Tips. And by the way, I saw the expose that Steve from Gamers Nexus did on Linus Tech Tips. Okay, I saw that. I know what happened. But like, at the very least, you could go to Linus and say that, you know what, at least he's being honest about what he thinks about the product. And he's not like trying to sell you something or trying to push a specific narrative, you know? That's not what you see with like gaming journalists. So it's like
they mostly push the games that they're told to like and hate the games they're told to hate.
You know, it pisses me off when the study that did to Helldivers 2. Bro, I stopped playing Helldivers 2 after that. I can still play it. I still play it, but not as much as I used to when that happened. The game, I still have my account and everything, but I just didn't. I stopped playing it because the people I played it with stopped playing as well. I saw for the Game Award fan voting accounts for 10% and journalist account for the other 90. There's gotta be a better way to do it since the journalists are hacks. With a Furby Fantasio. Oh yeah, that game is good, by the way. You guys should play it. If you guys haven't played it, that game's good. Forget what the journalists say about it. Like, I get it. There's like some progressive messaging on the game, but like the game is good, okay? Don't knock out the game and not play it just because it has, you know, some progressive messaging.
Hey, I heard that, but also it's Atlas, so I didn't trust any of that at all.
Like, it's a good game. You guys should play it. I do recommend it. Balatro Sweep. There's Balatro Sweep. I'd be happy if an indie game wins it. I feel like I'll also say this. I like Final Fantasy VII a lot. I liked Remake a lot. I like Rebirth a lot. I do not think that Final Fantasy Rebirth.
A DLC and a remaster or rebirth game should not be up for the Game Awards. I know Final Fantasy is like it's kind of like a second game, but still it's part of the same game. It does not count.
Should be running for Game of the Year, considering it is remaking a part of a game that already exists. So that's just me. The other reason.
Exactly. It does not count, even no matter how much people try to say it's a different game. It's a continuation of the game. It does not count as a new game. It's a continuation of a game. It does not count as a new game total.
And I even look at what journalists are saying as if I need to laugh. Yeah. Also, if a game like...
That is true. It's kind of funny to see what they say.
If they start talking good about a game like Avowed or the Dragon Age or Dragon Age the Veilguard or whatever, you know to avoid that game. They...
Yeah, usually the rule of thumb or the ruler is if journalist talks about it, the game is bad. Or if they talk about it negatively, the game's good. If they talk about it positively, the game's bad. Rarely, if a journalist talks negatively about a game or positively, is it that exact thing. But it does happen from time to time. It's rare, but it happens.
You know, I think KB journalists still do have like they still have like a use. It's just to avoid the games they like, because if they like it, it's probably a piece of shit. Sorry. Not only ignore it, if a journalist trash a game, it's probably a good game. True. No, but yeah, but like, hey, I'm kind of happy we're kind of in agreement here. It's rough. It's rough out here.
Okay, I said I'm honestly surprised, but I would say because Concord and Desperate both failed. They had to put up a game. But it's still messed up that Stellarblade did not get there. Oh, that was last year. Okay, so now we're gonna do the Johnny Somali thing, which I have it pulled right here. Okay, we're gonna watch this, and this might be the end. And we're gonna get out. Okay.
All right, let's get started, shall we? I've got a PowerPoint for you, of course, as always.
He likes PowerPoints.
So we're going to talk about what happened, why the change, which is a little bit of fact, a little bit of speculation, and what's going on in the Johnny Somali case. So here we go. So officially, we have an update that Johnny Somali, aka Ramzi Khalid Ismail, the date of his trial has been moved by the judge. So I'm going to say this a couple times. By the judge, which is very material. It was not at the request of the defense counsel or of Ramzi. In fact, I have it on good word that he, in fact, has said both publicly and privately that he thought he was going to be leaving before the end of the year. He thought he was going to show up to the trial and he was going to walk out and go home and be free to go and pay a fine and walk out. Now he is not going to be leaving for a very, very long time. A very, very long time.
And that's a good thing.
It has been moved from December 20th, which means there will be no trial on December 20th. So if you were somebody who was going to go out there and wait outside the...
Yeah, I mean, I guess that can be good and bad. Unfortunately, we don't have to... He's stuck there for... But on the bright side, he's also stuck there for... On the bright side, he's stuck there for another 3 months. He doesn't get to leave or... I mean... He doesn't get to go to jail or whatever the judge decides to do. So he has to wait till March to decide what's going to happen to him. So I guess more panic for him.
The courtroom and stuff like that. You don't got to anymore. It has now been moved. This is mostly good news. This is
mostly. It's mostly good.
It's mostly good news. However, there's one part that's a little bit bad, and I'll get to that. So we're going to talk about that today. So first of all,
there's always a little bit bad news on this.
What's the actual day? The specific date of the trial, which I know everybody is going to copy.
The 7th of March, 2025. Hey, I'm copying this just so you know.
Copy me on. Everybody's going to take this information, and that's fine. I want to give it to the world. Is March 7th, 2025. Okay? March 7th, 2025. So we've got to wait almost 4 months, 3-4 months. So one thing that you guys may have heard of in the American context is you may have heard of the concept of speedy trial. So, you have the right to a speedy trial. You have the right to, have your claim adjudicated, fairly quickly. That's not the case in Korea, right? There's not really the same sort of ability to push them to trial early.
Yeah, different rules apply to Korea compared to the United States.
So the thing is about this being requested by the judge, and let me go back here, is this is not coming from Johnny's counsel. Now, oftentimes, defense counsel will want to delay the trial, but because it's by the judge, there's no way to get it sooner. He cannot leave Korea until his trial, even if he goes to trial and pleads guilty. And mind you, like I said, even if he pleads guilty, it's not over on March 7th. It would probably be April.
It's far from over.
Before he's sentenced, even if he shows up and pleads guilty. So he now has, I would argue, 4 months of costs that he's got to pay, and he cannot stream. Because, by the way, he has no work visa. If he starts streaming while he's there, it's very clear, like in that case specifically, where he's not on a work visa, he shouldn't be doing anything. So he's got other potential violations if he's making money that way, right? He's stuck. No money, no friends, no nothing else. Very few friends. And I guarantee you, by the way, after 4 months, all those friends, those people that have been his cuddle buddies, they're going to get real annoyed with him after 4 months of him being a bum, after 4 months of him being a freeloader. Imagine if someone's on your couch for 4 months. It's one thing if it's 1 month. It's another if it's 4 months.
That is a true point. And also, I don't think any of his friends are really friends, just causing him problems. They enabled him and thought this was enabled him and made him think this was okay. If he thought it was already okay, they made him think it's more okay, which it's not.
So let's go through some of the facts here, because there's going to be a lot of misinformation on this, and I want to clear all this up. Because there's a lot of other channels, and guys, I do want to be very clear. There are a lot of other channels that are providing misinformation and even dangerous misinformation. So please be very, very careful with the stuff you consume and watch. People will forward me stuff and they'll say, oh, look, these are statements by Johnny or Gino that they're making, and they're from old videos that people are recycling. Now, I'm honest with you guys. Sometimes I do review old video, but I say, hey, it's an old video, and I'm reviewing it for the sake of legal analysis, for the sake of determining whether or not crimes were committed, potentially one way or another. But people are like, oh, look, Gino's turning on Johnny. And they send me clips, and it's from a video that's from, 4 months ago, 3 months ago, 6 months ago, a year ago. Right. So be very careful with misinformation. But that said, with this, the facts are we right now have the same charges, which for now, and the key word is here, for now, the only charges we have against him are two things: obstruction of business and violation of the Minor Crimes Act. Okay?
That's a big one, especially minors crimes. That's a serious one.
Everything else is not at trial yet for now.
Yet.
So that's all we have. We have the same court and courtroom for now. Now, I think that they may, and I don't want to spoil anything, but the particular courtroom he's in is not very big, and I think there may be more people attending than they expect, so they might want to move him up to the big courtroom. But that said, he's still in the same courtroom for now, under the jurisdiction of, like we talked about last stream, 102, we talked about the Western District. He's under the jurisdiction of the Western District. Same prosecutor for now. Same judge for now. Now, this is going to change. So the prosecutor and judge are going to change. Yes. Oh, yes. So we're going to pay attention to that. All right. So now we're going to get into the hypo section. Why?
hypothesis.
Why did the judge change this? Because this is
Now that's the big question.
something the judge decided to do. It's not something that Ramsey said, not something the prosecutor wanted. It's something the judge decided to do. Now, the judge is privy to a lot of information. All right, so everything here is a hypothesis, but it is a hypothesis that is based on, I think, good information. And it's based on like reasonable, educated guesses. So this is a hypothesis that is based on educated guesses. It's based on talking to people with experience in the system, etc. So why would the judge move this? Well, I want to make it clear. The issue is perhaps that this went too quickly through the stages of the criminal process. So what I think may have happened here is I think this may have jumped too quickly from stage 1 to stage 4. And typically, like I said, that stage 2 and 3 are each supposed to take 2 to 4 months. So a process
So it went too fast.
that was supposed to take up to 6 to 8 months happened in less than a month. So both the police investigation and the prosecutors set this for trial in less than a month. And now they're reeling back and they're saying, okay, we're going to push it out again, which is very interesting because now it's looking more like a regular timeline. So if you look at this going down in November and then a trial in March, that looks more like a typical Korean investigation speed, right? It's about 4 or 5 months of investigation. That's more typical than 1 or 2 months. So this was going very, very fast, but there's a lot of things they could have realized when this was going very, very fast. And let's look at that. What could they realize? Well, first of all, they could have realized they could be evidentiary issues. So let's focus on this. So here's a theory. Once again, these are all theories. Now, they're theories based on conversations with Korean lawyers, people with knowledge in the Korean legal system, etc. But the theory number 1, the judge is aware of the issues regarding the evidence, witnesses, or investigation. So meaning they want more witnesses to come forward. They want more evidence. They need more investigation. So the process would normally take months, and it was expedited to move it to December 20th. So moving it to March 7th, will go back to a normal pace. So I'm kind of going to give you like a pro-con, like this is why this theory could be legit. And then I'm going to...
I dare you to let me preloaded with 20 handpicked products that are trending all over.
Argue against that theory. I'm going to give you a counterpoint. So it's very possible they are pushing it out to March to get more evidence. However,
yeah, that's possible because it could have gone too quick where they could have some things that they aren't sure that are like in question if they're real or not. So it could have been get too quick where like, what if it's incorrect or something?
The counterpoint to this is that the charges against him are a slam dunk with the evidence they have. With the evidence they have,
that's also true.
Clear video. They don't need a lot of witnesses or anything else. They just show the video and it's like, yep, he's guilty, done. So this one, while it could be true, it's not necessarily bulletproof as a theory. Next, and this is the one that I think most of you guys are talking about, and a lot of people are talking about, adding charges. So, of course,
so there could be more charges laid upon that they might want to add, or that are going on right now that hasn't been officially finalized. So they might want to add those charges on top of the charges that already exist. So that's possible.
By delaying, you have more opportunity to add charges. So the judge is aware of many other charges that may be added to his case. March 2025 allows plenty of time to properly investigate or add other crimes to the trial docket. We know there's many other complaints against Ramsey, both victim complaints and third-party reports. So that's kind of the difference we talked about last time. And I talked about one of the more nitpicky details is there is a difference in the seriousness with which a victim reports a crime and a third party reports a crime. If a victim reports a crime, they take it very seriously. If a third party reports a crime, they do not take that as seriously unless there's a lot of people reporting the crime.
Yeah, unless it's multiple people doing it, they probably won't take it as serious.
Which could be the case here. The counterpoint to adding charges is many of the things happened outside the Western District. So they're outside of the jurisdiction of the current court. So why would the judge in the Western District give a excuse my crassness, but why would they care about what happened in Jamshid, which is in the Eastern District? So for example, if we're talking about the Lotte.
Okay. Though what gets me is even if they add more charges, is their end goal to get according to Korean law, and just in general, they rarely get the maximum percentage of like the maximum of his charges he's facing is 30 to 32 years. And rarely do the Korean law, I mean, they get a 90% conviction rate, that is true, but they rarely get like the maximum sentencing. So I would say at best he gets 5 years, maybe 1, which is a win already. Because then again, if he goes to jail in Korean jail in Korea, he would be without electronics or anything, his streaming stuff or anything, no money. He'd just be there without anything.
World incident. If we're talking about a lot of the other kind of
the Lotte world was disgusting,
back and forth with the Korean YouTubers and Johnny Somali, a lot of that happened in Jamshid in the Eastern District. So why would the Western District delay to add charges that would go in the Eastern District? Well, it could be to counter the counter that they're thinking about the pizza incident. Now, the pizza incident was a different night, but it is fully within the power of the Western District Court to bring into the same case anything that falls within its jurisdiction, i.e. that happened in Hongdae. So if two things happen in Hongdae, even on different nights, which they did, they happen on different nights, they could bring that within the purview of the court. Theory 1 was evidence. Theory 2 is charges. And this is one of my, the ones where I think it's very, very relevant is judge rotation. So this is something I learned about today, once again, from people who have a very deep knowledge of the Korean legal system. I am not a Korean lawyer, so I rely on other people, and this is something that was explained to me. So in Korea, judges and prosecutors are rotated.
Interesting. I don't know if that's in anywhere else, but
so they don't stay judges and prosecutors the entire time. So here's the thing. These charges were filed now, but there's a very good...
So the charges that were filed now, there's a chance that the judge that is over this, that's actually looking over when he gets actually put in court, could be a very different judge than the one that prosecuted for him right now.
Good chance that if they started in December and they had an actual trial, there might be a new judge, because
exactly the point.
New judges and potentially prosecutors are coming in 2025. So
I hope whatever sentence he's handed down humbles him, yeah. But the kind of individual he is, I doubt it. Or likely that won't be traveling anytime soon. Yeah, he's stuck in Korea until at least March and maybe April. I would hope even a year in jail, he would have some self-reflection, considering who he is. Not likely, but I mean, we can only hope that Yeah, I doubt it. Yeah, he's stuck there. He's been stuck there since at least November, maybe early September. So I would hope even a year in jail isn't good because he's without anything. He might take some self-reflection and he's probably gonna be freaking out without any of his toys. So okay.
Imagine you have a new judge and they come in and they're halfway through a trial. That's kind of a pain. But
yeah, that might be it might be a bad thing. I don't know. The new judge might, like, take pity on the guy. He's like, oh, he's just a kid. Let's let him go. That's what we don't want to happen, though. I doubt that would happen, but there's a chance it could happen.
if you come in and this is something that you're dealing with from the start, that's different. So you're handling the entire case open to close. And that can be a good thing. That can be a good thing. By the way, this is obviously pretended South Korea. These are American, Judge Judy over here and the judge from Providence. Very nice guy. Okay. So the theory is, this is the kind of crazy theory, is that the judge wants out. So the judge might...
I mean, if I was a judge and I was looking over this case, I might want out because this guy's crazy and causing national relations problems between South Korea and Japan and other countries, and he wants to race war and all that other stuff.
Not want anything to do with this case. The judge may be like, you know what?
Okay. We needed a judge with a strong sense of justice. Yeah. Which most South Korean judges, I would imagine, are. Yeah, not an enabler, yeah. Hand down a punishment. Yeah, I would imagine most of them are probably because this guy has caused national relations in South Korea, and when he was in Japan, it also caused some as well. So I'd imagine a sense of judge that us. Yeah, South Korea, he already did in Japan. He wants to go to China next, which good luck trying to get in China, let alone out of China alive. Yeah, he wants to start a race war. He's causing international problems, and this needs to Korea with some alternatives. Most of their males are in the serve military, so probably not a good idea to antagonize the country who has mandatory military service. Yeah, China, he might die. He might die in China. Like, if he tries China, he might not survive. That's what I think. He might not come out of China alive. And South Korea is the perfect country where you're nice. Unless you do something like this, then they will show you why. I mean, South Korea is a country. Most of its history has been oppressed by either China, Japan, or other countries. So they're not one to just let you just belittle them and do this type of stuff in their own country, let alone just in front of them. So there's a reason rooftop Korean exists as a term, although that's in California, or when they were the American Koreans, but still, it exists for a reason. And Korea is not just going to let you do this stuff. They are going to actually counterpunch like they have been doing. He also said he wanted to go to India too, which even worse idea than China, I'd say. Yeah. Yeah, if he went to... Yeah, Korea is nice unless you actually do something to give them a reason to not be nice, like this. I mean, Korea's whole history has been... Most of Korea's history is rebelling the people that are oppressing their own country. Their entire country has been mostly under rule, and most of their history is about rebellion or overthrowing the people that have meant to cause them harm or something. Like Imperial Japan, they overthrew Imperial Japan. China, most have been controlled by another country, mostly China or Japan. Most of their history is being oppressed at some point. So it's not shocking that they would react this way, considering their history, especially during World War II and a little bit before or after.
Screw this case. I'm out. And he may have
I wouldn't be surprised.
Bumped it because of that. And my support for that is, would you want to deal with the Johnny Somali case as a judge? This mess?
Yeah, so doing anything to disturb that kind of peace, it's no wonder they would force me. Yeah, he thinks being an American gives him free reign, but I'm sorry to say, but Americans want global relationships, and since you're causing friction over global relations, it's not going to help you. And you're also making Americans and tourists look worse. Yeah, it does not give you... You don't get an excuse for being a piece of crap because you're American. You being an American, you have a bigger responsibility to act a certain way overseas than most other countries, I bet. And just being an American does not give you excuse to be a piece of crap.
Now, to counter, I don't know the judge's state of mind. This really relies on me, like, looking into the judge's state of mind. But to be honest, people kicking the can down the road is a story as old as time. So let's go to my prediction. Okay. So,
and considering their history, it's not shocking.
Here's my prediction. This is a good thing.
Yeah, I mean that goes for any country, but especially America, since they're kind of like the high standard of countries, because they're kind of like, sometimes American is put into the Swiss Army knife country where everyone expects them to, save every country. But overseas, Americans are kind of stereotypical, not good people, and you kind of want to show that, hey, Americans are actually nice people. They're not ignorant. They're not terrible. And you're kind of showing that you're bad. To the point, Japan had to put a sign that said no circus and put a black man on. It's kind of funny, but also you cause Japan to not probably be like this as well. The fact that you've now made black people just be looked at as suspicious in any country, especially Asia. So, good job. You made people look at black people now suspiciously again.
Because, number one, it gives time to investigate other crimes. We've put out there that there are potentially other crimes that he's committed, that he's potentially done quite a number of things which should be investigated and should be looked into. Number two, victims can come forward. So, for example, I told you guys victim statements are more powerful than a statement that's just coming from a third party. Third, it forces him into prison until mid to late 2025. Now, I've said this before. Johnny Salami.
Huh. Yeah, he could be in prison till next year.
Is the one who's locked up. Because he's got to pay the money. He's got to stay there. He can't go anywhere. And everyone knows who he is. So he starts messing around. People are going to...
If he starts messing around again, it's not going to go well for him. I mean, you saw the IMT guy got literally shoved. He shoved him off the ground. And he looked like he got beat up by a bunch of gangsters.
be on him. He cannot make his normal content. He can't work. He can't do anything. So it's effective prison. So honestly, if he gets a year in prison as a sentence, which is possible, he could get a year. And he's been already.
Honestly, if he gets a year, it's a win because he might learn his lesson, and also he might learn his lesson, but also he will be stuck there without live streaming, without any way to make money. Yeah. If the Yakuza aren't as big as they were in their way back then, but they still exist. Yeah, I think he got. Someone mentioned when I was reacting to that Rotten Tomato video that there was the Yakuza could have been on the bike. The guy on the bike in the video could have been the Yakuza. So if you get the Yakuza to come out and threaten you, then you've probably messed up. I'm just saying because there aren't they don't rule Japan like they used to, but they're still around. But if you get them to come out and threaten you, then you might have messed up.
In Korea for almost a year with the trial, waiting for it to end. Well, then that's effectively 2 years. You've effectively doubled his sentence by keeping it.
Oh, so he might be stuck there for 2 years now instead of just one. So a double win, I guess.
In there, and then you throw him in the prison, and then you send him to the cabbages.
Yeah, send him to the cabbage farms, please.
So let's continue my prediction here. Remember, he must pay for himself. He cannot work, and food alone is in the thousands. Now, the only negative thing, because you know me, I am 100% objective.
So he might go broke by the time he's done out of Korea.
Only negative thing is that over time, the amount of public interest will drop. So YouTubers are not, I'm not going to cover this constantly for 4 months. I am going to cover other topics too. Now, I'm not going to let this go. When it comes close to March, I'm going to spin this up again.
Yeah, we're not going to talk about this for until he's finally convicted. I mean, obviously between probably before March, probably January, February, probably till before March, the 2 months between January and February, there's probably going to be nothing talking about it. So there's probably no one's going to be. I doubt people are going to talk about it until March. Maybe there are, but January, February, since it's the new year, is probably going to be it's kind of like up in the air or kind of the dead area of what's going to happen until March.
And I'm also going to cover this updates, but maybe I just have an update once.
Yeah, update. I mean, probably in January is probably going to be a few updates because right now there's nothing going on in this trial. It's kind of like in the mystery area.
It's a week. Maybe I have an update once every other week. Maybe there's not that much. There will be updates though. I guarantee you there will be updates, right? But there won't.
Yeah, I mean, talking about one thing for 4 months, it's probably going to be exhausting. I took a break from talking about gaming because I was kind of getting exhausted of it too. Yeah, I mean, especially there's no updates, there's not really a reason to talk about it. So it's going to be kind of in the dead area. Yeah, that's probably going to be until March. The only updates will be oh, these are extra charges he's getting, and this is if the judge and lawyer changes. Yeah,
Won't be updates every single day. No, of course not. Right. And part of that is that the YouTubers won't cover it as much and won't go as far. Some public pressure will drop. Whereas the 20th, it would have been very much in the forefront of everybody's mind. March, it'll be a little bit in the back end. That's probably the only bad thing. Other than,
I guess that's the downside that by the time March comes around, there probably won't be as much people talking about it as if it came out if it was next week.
that, everything else is good. From a legal procedural standpoint, everything else is good.
Amazing means the
Yeah, I mean, I'm talking about what other Korean drama, like stuff going on in the entertainment, and I did talk about the impeachment, which I mean, martial law, which I'm surprised he didn't get impeached, but that's beside the point. Yeah, I think that's. I mean, yeah, that's clickbaiters are gonna be there regardless. I mean, that's just YouTube. There's gonna be, clickbaiters on any topic, whether there's updates or not. What are we gonna get? Mike Zero on Johnny Somali Mike Zero video. That too. Is Mike Zero gonna make a Johnny Somali video? That's the big question. Mike Zero. Yeah. Yeah, late to the party people that are talk about it way too by the time it's almost over. Yeah, I would react to this, but it's 33 minutes long, and we kind of went over it. I mean, I might do these. I could do it another time, but that's kind of all he had today. Yeah, but Mike Zero is like kind of the clickbait king. It's just kind of funny. If you didn't know Mike was a clickbaiter, you kind of weren't paying attention. That's how he's kind of like memed and kind of like, oh, the great Mike Zero, because everyone knows he's a clickbaiter, and it's just kind of funny. Yeah, Hank is deported from the United States. Yeah. I mean, most of Mike's videos are just obviously not true. Yeah. He was deported for firearms something or other. But I think that's going to do it today, and if anything else happens on Johnny Somali, I will make a video or make this today's stream on it. Like every Thursday stream, I will talk about Mike Zero. I mean, not Mike Zero, not him. Johnny Somali, if anything, any updates, but probably there won't be anything further until maybe the end of the month. There might be something, but other than that, there might not be something. Yeah, for owning American firearms, and I think it was something bad. Not like just owning firearms, but I think he did something bad with the firearms. Yeah, it was just like half of his videos were just bull BS, and we're like, when Mike stops talking about Star Wars, then it's really dead. Yeah, the board is. Yeah, okay. That's going to be the end of the stream today. I will see you next week. Whatever it is, if it's Johnny, any other Korean news, or anything else. Until next time, I will see you on Monday, on making a video on Monday. See ya.
Welcome to the Blizzard Arena.
And the quest for a champion begins today.
The anticipation has been building, and it is finally time. We are live.
Are you ready?
Is it really?
Can you get over the roof there?
Oh my.
Oh my,
what a play, what a grab.
Another jump here onto the high ground. Super goes forward, but gets stunned up. EMP comes in, and ding, he rains down hell from above.
Here comes Pine. Gets one, gets two. Looking for a bit more, gets another one.
Tuno's down again. That heralds disaster generally for the Fusion, and Carpe wasn't far behind. Prophet, he's killed 4 players now on his own.
From Vancouver, locks him in the sound barrier. Sound is the bomb coming from Jono. Oh my God, he does it again.
Flutter now moving onto the Widowmaker, taking the clutch into his own hands. The headshot after headshot after headshot.
Okay, I like this for the Gladiators. They're going to try and circle around. I'm going to call this the merry-go-round because it makes me laugh. Makes me happy, and Sean Paul switches to the Widowmaker at just the right time.
Oh, the Graven.
What in the Lord's name is that?
That's so good. Oh, that's good as well.
I'm the best tracer in the world.
Oh my word.
I mean, you could have told me that you spoke English, honestly.
The fans never thought they'd see this day. It took 43 matches. Feels like a really emotional moment here.
Sorry.
All right, see ya.